Korea's Strategy and Finance Minister lowered the growth outlook for the Korean economy for this year by 2%. National Police Agency Chief Designate Kim Seok-gi has resigned, saying he'll bear responsibility for the deadly police raid in Yongsan last month. And the historical gate Sungyemun was opened for one day's public viewing. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Wednesday, the 11th of February. I'm Nemo Kim. Korea's Strategy and Finance Minister has lowered the 2009 growth outlook for the Korean economy by 2%. Analysts say that Yoon Jung-hyun is trying to distance himself from his predecessors, promising to give accurate information and trying to get the trust of the market.
New Strategy and Finance Minister Yoon Jung-hyun has lowered the economic growth outlook for this year to negative 2%. That's a huge drop from the forecast of 3% made late last year by his predecessor, Kang Man-soo. Yoon has warned of a tightening labor market, predicting that 200,000 jobs will disappear this year. The government had forecast that 100,000 jobs would be created.
정확한 정보를 주의한다고 생각합니다. 또 정부가 국민과 시장으로부터 신뢰를 얻는 첩경은 정직해야 된다고 저는 생각을 합니다.
The new economic team will raise the amount of additional budget to invigorate the economy. Bills to that end will be submitted to the National Assembly late next month. Additional government spending of up to $14 billion will seek to preserve jobs and improve the people's livelihood. The additional budget will also support small business owners. The new economic team will shut down insolvent and non-viable companies while working to boost liquidity in the market. Yoon has also hinted at more government assistance for banks and injection of public funds into them if necessary. The new minister says he'll focus on creating more jobs.
National Police Agency Chief Designate Kim Seok-gi has resigned from his post in response to mounting pressure to bear responsibility for the deadly police raid in Yongsan last month. Police officers are protesting that Kim's been made a scapegoat, while victims' families say they want him arrested.
National Police Chief Designate Kim Seok-gi resigned over fire's tragedy. He said he would take responsibility for the lives lost at the deadly incident in the Yongsan redevelopment zone, although the fire was an unforeseen accident that occurred during the legitimate law enforcement process.
이번 용산 사고의 도의적 책임을 지고 경찰청장 내정자와 서울경찰청장직에서 사퇴하기로 결심하였습니다.
He decided to step down as he could no longer let the conflict over his future rage on. The former chief of Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency also stressed that his decision could help establish law and order to society. Law enforcement officers were shocked at the announcement. They claimed that the police have become scapegoats and their morale would significantly fall.
파출소에 있는 제일 썰에 있는 직원들까지도 권위가 안 서고 일을 못하고 있는 거예요. 너희들은 우리가 물러나라면 물러날 안 맞.
The Civic Committee for the Yongsan fire incident and the victims' families argued that Kim's resignation only whitewashes the tragedy. They claimed that the resignation was the president's scheme of dumping liability and settling public opinion.
너무 분하고 원통해요. 어떤 일이 있어도 김석기는 처벌을 받아야 됩니다. 구속을 해야지 돼요.
Families of victims and advocates demanded Kim's arrest and the president's apology.
A Korean court has upheld a ruling granting the right of a family to cut off life support from a member of their family in a coma. This is considered the country's first case of non-active euthanasia.
The family of a woman in a vegetative state has won a lawsuit to have her hospital cut off her life support. The 76-year-old woman slipped into a coma while undergoing surgery for pneumonia last year. This is Korea's first euthanasia case. The Seoul High Court accepted the family's request to have the woman taken off life support. Judges say the Constitution recognizes a patient's right to suspend medical treatment. The ruling says the vegetative patient's stance on suspension of treatment can be assumed through documents left behind before she slipped into a coma. But the court presented rigorous conditions for suspending treatment, saying life must be respected as much as possible. The judges say life support is removable only when there's no chance of recovery and if clear support for the right to die was expressed previously. The ruling also says only doctors can cut off a patient's life support.
이를 지켜보는 가족들은 굉장히 고통스러워하고 있고 병원 측에서 상고를 포기하고 조기에 존엄하게 죽음을 맞이할 수 있도록 도와달라는 입장입니다.
The hospital will appeal the ruling.
Artificial snow or rain is being spotlighted as a solution to prolonged winter drought. Gangwon Province has been testing an artificial snowmaking technology to solve their water shortage problem.
The entire city of Gangneung comes into view from the top of the Taegwalyeong Pass. An artificial snowmaking lab is located here, and an experiment begins when the east wind brings over the fog. Scientists use silver iodide and dry ice for cloud seeding to turn the fog into snow. Moisture in the fog of up to 5 degrees Celsius below zero freezes into snow once it comes in contact with the cloud seas. The experiments are conducted in an aerial space as well. Last spring, cloud seas were dispersed from a plane over a nearby Yongpyeong ski resort to create a 10-centimeter thick snow cover, which is more than the normal. The artificial precipitation team plans to continue the land and air experiments this year. Yet the scientists say that the method cannot be applied immediately to end drought.
강원 이외 지역에 인공강우를 적용하기 위해서는 5년 이상의 반복 실험을 통해서 실용화 단계에 이를 수 있을 것이라 생각됩니다.
The artificial precipitation technology is still in research, but is being spotlighted as a viable solution to severe drought.
The Korean national soccer team will face Iran in a qualifier for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. A huge challenge awaits Korea at Tehran's Azadi Stadium, where Iran has not lost a single game since October of 2004.
The national soccer team seeks to win its first game in Iran in 35 years. Defender Lee Young-pyo has joined the team and trained with his teammates. The team opened only part of its final practice to the public. Coach Heo Jung-moo has kept his strategy a secret to prevent distractions.
우리는 지금까지 많은 경험을 했고 또 한국 대표팀이 이번만큼은 좋은 성적을 거둘 수 있는 그런 능력과 경험이 있기 때문에 상당히 긍정적으로 생각하고 있습니다.
Coach Heo has pledged to win the game. He plans to start Lee Gun-ho and Jung Sung-hoon as the two strikers, and Lee Young-pyo and Oh Bum-seok will play the two wingback positions.
저희가 한 번도 못 이겨본 곳이긴 하지만은 선수들은 다시 우리가 또 새로운 징크스도 만들 수 있고 있지 않느냐 하는 그런 생각으로 지금 각오가 돼 있습니다.
An expected 100,000 Iranian fans will put huge pressure on Korea. The high altitude and expected rain on game day could also pose problems for the Korean team in Tehran.
Korea's national treasure #1, Sungyemun, was opened for a one-day public viewing a year after it was destroyed in a fire. It's still undergoing restoration, but visitors were hopeful that the gate will be restored to its former glorious self.
National treasure #1, Sungyemun, was destroyed in a fire a year ago. People came to commemorate the tragedy and see the restoration in progress. Some 6,000 people visiting the site all hoped for the gate's full restoration and the revival of the national spirit.
잘 복원해가지고 이걸 계기로 해서 우리 민족이 다시 한번 일어서는 그런 좋은 기회에서.
Visitors wrote down their wishes for Sungyemun and posted them on the board.
숭례문이 다시 이쁘게 복원이 되고 다시는 이런 일이 없게끔 잘 관리를 해줬으면.
The 600-year-old Sungyemun is an invaluable piece of our history that should be safeguarded throughout generations. A special ceremony was held to pray for the successful restoration of Sungyemun. Korean traditional dancers turned sorrow into hope. Meanwhile, the Cultural Heritage Administration held a briefing prior to the public viewing. The administration's chief said the renovated gate will still remain a national treasure since over 70% of the old materials are reusable.
모든 그 자료를 다 고증해서 완벽하게 복원하는 것만이 우리 가족을 되찾는.
The restoration of Sunyemun is scheduled for completion at the end of 2012. People hope to see the colossal and exquisite site of Sunyemun.
Korean and Japanese scholars have begun studying materials showing that Japanese kana characters originate from the Shilla dynasty's Kugyol. Kugyol was a system to understand classical Chinese characters in Korean, and they're trying to find out if it had a direct influence on the Japanese letters.
This ancient book is known as the origin of Japanese kana characters. Symbols apparently used as kugyol, used in the Shilla dynasty, have been found in the book's first page containing a Shilla text. Kugyol was a system for reading classical Chinese characters in Korean. This Buddhist text was written by Shilla monk Pyo-won. The Chinese characters each have symbols written over them in yellow and brown. They're the Korean phonetic symbols for Chinese characters. Through joint research, Korean and Japanese scholars have concluded the symbols to be from the Shilla dynasty.
일본어로 해석할 때는 문제가 있고 그 신라식으로 해석하는 것이 훨씬 더 적극적이고 좋은 증거들을 많이 찾고 있기 때문에
Traces of kugyol has also been found in an Avatamsaka Sutra in Japan. This proves the Shilla method of reading Chinese letters was transferred to Japan.
世紀の東アジアの文化の交流の状況を考えると、当然日本は新羅の影響を受ける立場にあるんです。
Korean and Japanese scholars will also study how Shilla's kugyol has influenced Japanese kana characters.
She's brought comfort to her fans for half a century with her songs that are sorrowful but are said to suit the Korean sensibility. Let's take a look at Lee Mi-jae's 50-year-long career.
Singer Lee Mi-jae sings The Lady of Camellia for former President Park Chung-hee and former Japanese Prime Minister Fukuda in 1979. But the song's circulation was strictly banned as it was accused of reminding Japanese songs. He debuted with My Pure Heart at 19. Her career itself reflects the modern history of Korea. She held a concert for Korean soldiers participating in a war in abroad.
가면 다 죽는 거로 알고 있었어요. 무대에서 노래를 부르니까 완전히 전부 울음바다예요. 그냥 저도 울고 같이 그 늠름한 사람들이 그냥 다 울고.
The circulation of her hit songs were banned for more than 20 years. Lee also has been undervalued as a traditional pop singer.
세종문화회관이 그때 마침 30주년이고 제가 그래서 거기에 이제 대관을 신청을 했습니다. 하는 거절당했어요. 뽕짝 가수라는.
It has been 50 years since her debut. She has sung 2,300 songs for the years and written her history. She recently released a new retrospective album depicting all her feelings about being a singer for half a century.
고달픈 인생길이었지만 추운 겨울 눈밭 속에서도 동백꽃은 피었어라.
An American Color Institute has picked bright yellow as the color for 2009. Yellow is said to make people feel warm, hopeful and stable. The institute says yellow will cheer people up who are facing difficulties amid the economic slump. So let's take a look at the current yellow craze.
We're in the fashion district here in Myeongdong in Seoul. You can literally feel spring from all the yellow clothes people have on. They're wearing yellow t-shirts, yellow coats and yellow hats.
노란색을 입으니까 기분도 업되고 경제도 어려운데 그냥 기분 전환을 해야 되죠.
Fashion stores are inundated with yellow items.
요즘 스트레스를 많이 받아서 기분 전환 해볼까 하고 쇼핑 왔는데 노란색을 입으니까 봄이 오는 것 같고 기분 좋아요.
Yellow has a psychological effect of making people feel self-confident and optimistic. The color also encourages people to bring about new ideas. But checkered clothes are a wrong match with yellow clothes, since it makes the person wearing it look a little bit childish and unpolished. Putting on yellow with other single-colored items is a good choice. If you feel wearing a yellow dress is a little bit too much, why not try a yellow hat or a pair of yellow shoes? The interior decoration industry is also catching up with the yellow fad. Yellow beddings are on the market.
불경기에는 마음이 무겁고 침체적인 분위기가 많기 때문에 집에 가서는 침구를 봤을 때 화사한 분위기가 느끼시며 기분도 좋아지시고 해서 불경기에는 화사한 패턴이 유행이에요.
In feng shui, yellow means money since rice and gold are yellow-colored. Matching yellow with purple can be very stylish. If you don't like the idea of yellow furniture or yellow bedding, how about a yellow flower pot or a photo frame to brighten up your room? Yellow food or dishes can stimulate your appetite. This restaurant is crowded with diners who have fallen for the color yellow. It offers dishes made from yellow ingredients such as lemons, pumpkins and sweet potatoes. Yellow food is good for health. The coloring carotenoids found in yellow food is said to help digestion and prevent cancer. And turmeric in curry detoxifies the liver. A glass of lemon juice with a dish of yellow food could not be better.
노란색이란 색깔이 이렇게 사람들에게도 그러니까 시각적으로 약간 밝고 약간 상큼한 이미지를 주잖아요. 실제로도 맛있고 되게 보기에도 좋은 것 같아요.
So choose a yellow item and lift up your spirits to weather the economic difficulties.
And it's time now for a look at today's economic indicators, followed by world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Join me tomorrow at the same time. Have a wonderful day.